Hello everybody and welcome back for some weekly VR news, where I catch you up to date on everything going on in the VR industry, prepare you for this week's new releases, and then focus in on one major story. This week has some truly exciting games coming our way. Meta bans kids under 13 from Rec Room. We finally have a launch and pre-order date for the PlayStation VR 2, plus some additional new launch titles. Qualcomm says that new XR2 Plus devices are coming soon. And finally, my Quest 2 controllers recently overheated. So this is going to be a pretty exciting episode, and there are of course links and timestamps if you want to skip ahead. But before we jump in, this video is brought to you by Kiwi Design. Let's face it guys, your Quest 2 needs an Elite strap. Why not get one with a battery pack? Kiwi has this amazing one. It's my absolute favorite. It's got this super plush top strap and back strap, making it extra comfy. It's way more durable than what you get from Meta and cheaper. Plus, it's got a massive 6400 milliamp hour battery, which can give you 4+ hours of additional gaming. I highly recommend it, guys. Go check out additional accessories from Kiwi Design, and don't forget to use discount code Mateo311 for 5% off and to help support my channel. Okay, so starting off with this week's new releases, I think we have something for everyone. And first up is the 4 to 10 player party game Among Us. The classic tale of betrayal and sabotage. You'll be working together with either your friends or random strangers to help repair your space station, but at least one person among you is sus. You're either trying to sabotage the ship or eliminate the passengers without being noticed. This was an absolutely addictive and beloved flat screen title, and the VR version just adds a whole new level of social interaction and paranoia when you see other characters looming around you. Now, I haven't decided if I'm going to cover this game just yet, so let me know down in the comments if you'd like to see a review of this title. Now, if you're not interested in kid-friendly cartoon titles, we have the retro shooter A Medieval surprise dropping for the Quest 2. Now, I did get official confirmation of this game's release directly from Meta, but I'm not seeing any other info anywhere else. And I will say this isn't the first time they've given me slightly incorrect information, so take this week's release date with a grain of salt, but it does look like we're getting an extremely fast-paced, ultra-brutal boomer shooter to dive into. Featuring 7 distinct non-linear levels, all with their own specific architecture and enemy types, plus a never-ending horde of evil to dispatch, we have a mature-themed dark fantasy shooter that's the exact distraction I'm looking for. I grew up in the generation of what's now being called retro or boomer shooters, so this is right up my alley. Another title that's definitely my style is the 4-person co-op shooter Gambit. I'm already a few hours into this game, and it's basically Borderlands meets Left 4 Dead. There's countless ruffians to dispatch, plenty of weapons and skins to unlock, hidden areas on each level with parkour segments, and some over-the-top profanity-laced cutscenes. It's definitely mature themed with its blood and guts and vulgarity, but also doesn't take itself too seriously, as it's filled with both quirky and gritty humor. If you're looking for a new co-op experience to play with a bunch of your friends, definitely go ahead and check out Gambit. But if that's too violent for you, we have the cute puzzle title Kartoffll. You'll have to help protect some spuds that are blindly marching to their own demise. You could place barriers and other tools like jump pads in their path to help safely guide them to their final destination. Now, this reminds me a lot of a title I grew up on called Lemmings, which was a hilariously good time, and I think Kartoffll may be able to recapture that and even add to the experience now that it's multi-dimensional in VR and just a lot cuter to behold. Now, this definitely isn't the typical style of games I play right now, but I'm definitely going to check this one out. Okay, so that was this week's new releases, but there definitely are some more game stories today, starting with Meta blocking kids under 13 from Rec Room and any other social application. Starting on November 14th, any title that allows children 12 and under will be removed from the Quest store. When this comes to Rec Room, it's forcing them to remove their limited access junior accounts. Now, while many of us would be happy to see children removed from many different titles, it's unlikely we'll see a major impact in Rec Room or any other games. The vast majority of the Rec Room player base is not in VR, and nothing is preventing a younger child from using their parents' or siblings' account. This really just comes down to more of a liability issue from Meta. Not only are there adverse health concerns with younger kids using VR equipment, but they are also considered toxic assets with finable legal ramifications when it comes to online interactions. So this is less Meta removing little kids from your games and more them covering their own asses. Now, in even better gaming news, Netflix has announced that a Stranger Things VR title is coming where you get to play as Vecna. It's described as a psychological horror action title where you become an explorer of unknown realities as you form the hive mind and tame the void. You'll also be invading minds and conjuring nightmares in an attempt to get revenge on Eleven and the population of Hawkins. I'm absolutely down for this and can't wait to check it out, just like the new launch information for the PlayStation VR 2. We finally got the official launch date for the PlayStation VR 2, plus many new titles have been announced. On November 15th, you'll be able to pre-order the PlayStation VR 2 for $550, and it will arrive on February 22nd. Now, we also got information on 4 brand new titles, including a fast-paced, horror-themed action shooter roller coaster title, Switchback VR, the 4-person co-op squad-based shooter Crossfire Sierra Squad, the fantasy-themed single-player roguelike The Light Brigade, which is a mystery-filled battle to climb the ranks of a sunken world, and finally we're getting a VR version of Hello Neighbor. Overall, it's a great set of new titles, but not really the AAA titles we're looking for, like Horizon Call of the Mountain. Now, currently there's over 50 titles announced for the PlayStation VR 2, with exclusives limited to Resident Evil 7, Horizon Call of the Mountain, the new Resident Evil 4 remake, and finally Firewall Ultra. Everything else announced is basically ports of existing VR titles, such as Tales from the Galaxy's Edge and Jurassic World Aftermath. Now, the current major concern out there is the fact that the PlayStation VR 2 actually costs more than the PlayStation 5 itself. This puts the price of both the console and headset right around $1,000, and is that just too much to ask? Personally, any platform that gives us higher-end VR games, I am all for and ready to jump into. Anytime I jump back into a PCVR only VR game, I'm always blown away at how much better it looks than the best Quest titles out there. So I'm hoping the PlayStation VR 2 makes that quality much more the norm than the exception, but we'll just have to wait and see what happens. In other VR headset news, Apple supposedly has 3,000 people currently working on their new headset. I find it pretty humorous that the number of people working on this headset appears to match the price tag of this item, but I'll just consider that a happy coincidence. Now, to put that number into perspective, Meta's own Reality Labs currently employs roughly 5 times that amount of people. And Meta only has about half the total employees as Apple. So basically, Meta dedicates a lot more resources towards XR, which makes sense because it's the company's #1 focus now. The rumors and leaks for the Apple VR headset have been all over the place. Everything from insanely high-end hardware to developer nightmares, a lack of content, and the fact that this will have no controllers and be hand-tracked only. Now, the latest rumors state that the headset will be officially announced in January of 2023, and it will officially release sometime in the second quarter. After seeing the public's reception of the Quest Pro, I don't have high hopes for Apple, but maybe they can surprise us. And speaking of surprises, Qualcomm has announced that new XR2 Plus devices are coming soon. The original XR2 chipset is what powers the Quest 2, and the XR2 Plus is what's inside the Quest Pro. It's a redesign with much more efficient thermals and up to 50% more power. Now, that doesn't translate into increased gaming performance because it has the same GPU, and the updates are more dedicated around using additional cameras and pass-through applications. There's currently one additional headset utilizing this chip, which is the Think Reality VRX. But this announcement from Qualcomm really means that we're getting more prosumer and enterprise headsets on the way, rather than gaming competitors. That'll be a job for the XR2 Gen 2, which rumors state does feature a new GPU and will be inside of the Quest 3. So that's the product we're waiting for to get some new gaming headsets. But focusing on those prosumer headsets for a second, we need to talk about the fact that my Quest Pro controllers recently overheated. Now, at the moment, this is currently a one-off, and I've spent about 30 hours playing games on this headset with no other issues to report. I do my daily Supernatural, I played through all of Iron Man, and during that time period, I've seen no to very minimal issues with the controllers, but that changed a few days ago when all of a sudden I couldn't move in game, and anytime I touched the left controller stick, I got a little pop-up stating that my controllers were getting too warm and that I should set them down for 30 minutes. I wasn't recording at the time, nor was I smart enough to think about taking a picture. I was honestly just a bit confused during this time period. I did set them down for about 5 minutes, and then after testing, the controller was experiencing some significant drift, but one controller reset later and everything seems fine. Now, there's always the possibility I have defective controllers, or this was just a software issue that can be fixed with a firmware update. However, I did take to Reddit, and multiple users have reported that they've seen this message more than once now, so the issue definitely isn't limited to just me. I'll definitely give updates if there's any new information, but I did want to spend another minute talking about the controllers. A few individuals are constantly telling me I'm not giving the new controllers the credit they deserve, and while I do admit they're an amazing technological advancement, and I enjoy not only the way they feel compared to Quest 2 controllers, but also the better haptics that they bring, but I just don't think they're worth the near $300 price tag. I mean, that's basically the launch price of the Quest 2 itself. The tracking on the Quest 2 controllers is pretty damn amazing. I rarely have occlusion issues or need to swing controllers outside of the range of my headset, so as of right now, they're not delivering any new major advantages, and they're overpriced with additional complexity. If you're unaware, the Quest Pro controllers have a Snapdragon processor inside of them and 3 cameras, allowing them to do all the tracking on their own. It's nice that we're not smashing controller rings together anymore, but if the processor in my controller is going to start randomly overheating, not allowing me to play my games, it's definitely not worth the trade-off. Now, if Meta is eventually able to utilize these controllers for additional features like full body tracking, then I'll start singing their praises, but as of right now, I feel like they overcomplicated a product that just didn't need it. You could have taken the original Quest 2 controllers, increased the haptics to match, and the average person would have been happy. But I'm sure many of you may disagree, so let me know down in the comments. And if you enjoyed this video, go ahead and give it a thumbs up. If you're new here, please consider subscribing. And as always, I will see you guys on next time.